What is going on, fellow web developers? My name is Tyler Potts, and in today's video we're going to be making this voice recognition app that can actually take commands such as what is the time. And there you go, you can see it said it's currently 3:30 today on a Sunday, and we are going to be building this today. So let's click OK, and then it's going to restart and go again, and you can see here we can do different things. So I can just say stop recording. And there you go, you can see it stopped recording. So this is what we're going to build and say. I'm going to show you the basics of getting voice recognition set up in your application. And then I'm going to show you some cool things you could do with it, such as adding commands and other stuff to your websites. And if you want to see even more, such as voice synthesis, so it talks back to us, and let's say maybe even some actual AI features that can, well, not AI, but voice commands that can control your actual PC with Node.js, let me know, because that's something I've been working on recently. And if you guys want to know how you can shut your PC down by going, hey, Mr. PC, shut down, and it shuts down, then let me know, because I can do that in a different video. So let me know in the comments. So without further ado, let's build this application. Okay guys, so we are going to be starting off inside Official Studio Code in a blank folder, and we're going to get a Vite application started. So to do that, I'm going to run npm create Vite at latest, and I'm going to use a dot. Now the dot notation just says create the this application in the current folder we're actually in. So I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to ask me a few questions. The first one, what is the package name? Now this doesn't matter because it's not a package I'm publishing, but for you it might. So I'm going to say this is my YouTube Vite, and it's a voice recognition, VR, or speech recognition, SR. There we go, that'll do. You can name whatever you want. And then we're going to pick a framework. So for this tool, we're going to be using Vue. Again, if you want to see this in another language like React, Preact, Lit, Svelte, or even just vanilla, let me know, we can do that. But for now, we're going to hit Vue. We're going to use Vue and not TypeScript, because I just prefer plain JavaScript. And here we go, I'm going to run npm I, and that's going to install the def dependencies we need. So I'll see you once that is done. Okay, that's done now, guys. So it only took 7 seconds, as you can see here, so it's pretty quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this application, but before we do, we're going to delete a couple of things. So we're going to delete the whole assets folder and the whole components file. This is going to be literally a single component we're going to use for this tutorial. So inside of the app.vue, we can delete everything in there. I'm going to delete everything inside a template. I'm just going to quickly put a hey. I mean, that's good. That is good. We'll leave that there, although I want it to be tabbed properly, and there we go. And then we can delete in here and just quickly add, I'm going to add a real quick style now. I'm going to say margin 0, padding 0, box sizing border box, and I'm going to give it a font family of Virus Sans. Again, I'm not going to use any fonts to install. I'm not going to install this font, it's already on my machine. So I'm not going to import it, but just so you know, you can use any font you want there. And then we're just going to give this a random dark background color. Let's just do that quickly. Come here, I'm just going to go for a dark purpley blue, something down here, and like really dark, like maybe that might do. We'll see soon. And then we'll give it a color of white. I'm just going to change the color slightly. I'm going to make it a bit more like that, something which is not too harsh, but something that works like that. That'll do. We'll figure it out. That should be good for now. And that's all I want to do, just to reset the styling for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to run npm run, and then we're going to say def, which is going to start our application. And there you go. So you can see on the right here, it's updated, and that's what it currently looks like. So let's get our components in here. Then let's remove this. We're going to call this, we're going to give this a class of app for now. I think that works. And inside of our app, we're going to have a button, and the button is going to have the class of microphone. I could probably shorten that to mic. I don't know why I've named it so long. Who knows? And I'm going to bind this because we're going to have a value which will mic. We're going to have a value in here soon, which will allow us to say if it's recording or not. So I'm going to say record here in the actual button, and there you go. We've got a little button in the top corner. It's looking all right. We'll style this up a bit better in a moment. Now under here, we're just going to have a transcript in here, and that's going to basically hold all of our text. So all the text we have is going to be in there. Now we're going to need a few things. So I'm going to say const is equal to, or const. And we're going to say ref and on mounted. Sorry, that shouldn't say const. That should say import I am thinking of Node.js here. So we're going to say import ref on mounted is equal to, or is from Vue JS, just like that. And there we go. So next up, we're going to need a couple of variables. We're going to need the transcript. So we're going to set that equal to a ref of an empty string. We're also going to need is recording, because we're going to use this variable to tell if we're recording or not. We're then going to say we're going to get speech recognition. So I'm going to say recognition is equal to, and we're going to say it's either equal to window.speech.recognition or window.webkit speech recognition. Now this is required in case one of these doesn't exist. So if windows.speech recognition doesn't exist, for example in Safari, it will default back to the WebKit speech recognition. So it'll try and use this first. If it doesn't exist, then it will use this one here. Now under here, we're going to just create something called SR, which stands for speech recognition, and we're going to set it up. We're going to set it to a new recognition. Now the recognition, this is basically what's going to take our voice, so from our mic, our input, and it's going to create an output of text. So it's going to be smart enough to translate what we say into the machine. It's going to give a confidence score back to say, okay, I think you're saying this. And it's also going to tell us if it's final or not. So not final means it's still processing it, but it's threw us back some content anyway, just to make sure we know what we're getting. So let's just close that sidebar as well, though. We don't need that. And there you go. So basically, this is what initiates our new speech recognition. So that's ready to go. Now we have to start this. There's a few functions that's going to come with it, and I'll show you those when we go. But first, we want to call this only once our application is mounted. So we're going to go in here, and we're going to say on mounted, and we're going to set this equal to an arrow function, just like that. We're then going to say sr.continuous is equal to true, which continuous means it won't stop. So when you stop talking, it will still be there listening in. It won't stop talking until you're done or you turn it off. We're then going to get sr.interim results equal to true. So what interim results mean is it's going to pass back the results constantly. It's every time it feels you've made a change or you've spoke, it will try and grab those results in a certain time frame. I think it's like 1 or 2 seconds. It'll be like, okay, there's new results in, let's show them the results. But they won't be final, or they may not be final. They can be final, but they may not be. So continuous just says record for ages until you stop it yourself. And then interim results says, okay, even though we're doing it continuous, we still want to get results every so often, so send those back. I'll explain more once we get into that part. So we want to say sr.onStart, just like this, and we want to set this equal to an arrow function. So what onStart means is, is the voice recognition started? Now this doesn't start the voice recognition, it just checks if it's an event listener. So as soon as you do start, it will call this function. So we can call something called sr.start. And that's actually going to start our voice recognition. It's going to say, okay, we're now listening for our voice recognition. And that will call this function here as well. So as soon as this is called, it will call any function inside of here. And what we want to do is when the voice recognition is started, we want to say is recording value is equal to true. And just for testing purposes, we'll say console.log. And I'm just going to say voice recognition started. Speech recognition started, because it's speech, not voice. It's the same thing. Anyway, and then let's just say, inside of here, let's just say sr.start, just like that, hit save, and you can see it's now activating my mic. Now, if you've never used localhost with your mic before, it's going to ask you for some permissions. I'm actually going to reset my permissions and restart so you can see. And here it goes, oh, this wants to allow you to use your microphone. If you click block, this won't work. You have to click allow to allow it to use your microphone. And now it's actually listening. So if we open up the console here, you can see it says SR has started. So that's cool. Let's delete this and let's say sr.onStop. So when we stop this application, we want to say console.log sr stopped, and we want to say is recording value false. There you go. Sorry, I just realized not on stop. This should be on end. So once it ends, it will then. So anytime this is stopped, when we call sr.stop, it will stop running. So I'm going to quickly do an experiment here, and we'll basically set the value to false, just so you know. So I'm going to say sr.start, and that's going to start voice recognition. Now I'm going to set a timeout. Set timeout. We're going to say for. Well, here you go. sr.stop. And I'm just going to say for 1 second. So If we restart this, you'll see it says SR started, and then after 1 second, it said SR stopped. So it was really quickly, but you can see that's what it will call. So it will call this function. So we don't need to call, again, we don't need to call these here. We'll be calling those when we press the button and we use our commands. Now, the most important part of this is the onResults function or event listener. So we're going to say sr.onResults. It's definitely on result. We're then going to pass through the event, which I'm going to call EVT. And then anytime this gets results, it will pass them through here. So for now, let's just log EVT. And let's set up a function here where we can actually call this. So we're going to say outside of our onMounted function, I'm going to create a function which starts our voice recognition. I'm going to say const toggle mic is equal to, and we could just say an arrow function that says if is recording dot value. We're gonna there we go. We're gonna stop it. If we're currently recording, then we're gonna stop. Otherwise, we're gonna start our application. Now inside of here, we're gonna pass through an @click method to our button here. Obviously, this is the default Vue bind for the click event, and we're just gonna say toggle mic, just like that. Refresh, and as you can see up here, you can see there's no red mic, but if I click record, you can see the red mic is now showing. And as I'm talking, you can see the speech recognition is doing loads of things down here. So let me stop talking and open this up. So you can see this is where our last thing. So this kind of looks like just a generic, event. You've got bubbles, you've got the compose, you've got the current target, but the thing we really need to look at is this result. So you can see here we get an array of results. And you can see we've got 0 and 1 here. And this one is not final, and neither is this. And final means it's figured out, we've stopped talking and it thinks this is it. So let's go into 0 here. You can see it says click record. You can see the red light is showing, and oh god. Voice recognition hates me, of course. Let's go down here. Talking at night. There you go. That one's better. That one's probably perfect. But if we just stop this now, you can see this is what's giving us back. So we actually need to get the results for this. And more specifically, we want to get the transcript so we can set our transcript here. So you see this transcript variable, we actually need to set here phi-text, and we're going to set transcript. Now we could just pass this in as a template in here, but I'm just going to pass it through phi-text because it's a lot better, and it updates the elements text content area. Basically, it's better than just, spamming it out anywhere. So there we go. So we're just going to use phi-text in here. And if I go back up in here, we can now say const t, which goes down for transcript, but shortened. And that's going to be equal to evt.results. And we're going to pass through .map. And now we're going to say result is equal to result. We're going to say result 0. And then we're also going to map this again. So I'm just going to break this down so you can read it. So we're going to say map. Then we're going to map the result of this. So whatever this passes back, we're then going to get result.transcript, which is going to pass us back the transcript. And we are going to join that. We're going to join that by an empty string, should I say, because we don't need the space, because this should give us a space because it can tell how we're talking. So we then say transcript.value is equal to t. So if we now refresh here and we hit record, now as we start talking, we've got an error. Event.results.map is not a function. I've done that slightly wrong. Let me explain why. So let me explain why this doesn't work. If we unlog this and we just quickly pause this, I want to show you something. So ev.results, because that's what we're looking for here. So let's refresh and let's hit record. And now as we start talking, we're going to get results through. But these results are actually part of an array, but they're not just any style array. They're actually a list, and a list needs to be converted into an array. So you can't actually use the list as an array and use map because it doesn't exist. So we need to convert this into an array. So to do that, we can uncomment all this again. And what we're going to do is we're going to say array.from, and then we're going to pass through the results in. Now this is basically going to say we're going to create an array from our whatever we pass through from this list. And now this should hopefully work. So let's refresh this whole page and let's hit record. Now as we talk, you can see it's now appearing on screen. So far we've already got our bots, or not our bot, our JavaScript browser being able to be like, hey Tyler, yo, what's up man? How's it going? It almost said toilet. It almost called me toilet. That would have been extremely sad. But there you go, you can see this is how this is working. If we hit stop now, you can see this is now stopped and this is what we had left. So now ask we talk, you can see it's now appearing on screen. So that's supposed to be as we talk, but I probably talk too quick for this to understand sometimes. But it's pretty accurate most of the time. It's just a couple of things that it gets wrong. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to say stuff like this. So let's hit record and I want to be able to go like this. So let's just say we're normally talking and then we go, okay, tell me the time. And it goes here, be able to go tell me the time. And now what we're looking for in here is the keyword of the time or what's the time, or you could probably pass through a few parameters, but we're gonna set something specific as what's the time or what is the time, and we're gonna be looking for that. So let's refresh this on the right and let's actually set that up. So on results, we're gonna have to loop through our current results. I know we bind all the results here to create our transcript, but we need something more than just a transcript for this. So we're going to create a function which we take the results and basically convert it into a command. So inside, well, actually outside this, above toggle mark, we're going to say const check for command, and we're going to set that equal to an arrow function that gets the result. Now, inside the results, what we want to do is we basically want to do an if statement style thing to say if it says this or if the result says this, then do this. So in here, we're going to say if result.includes, and then we can actually pass through, sorry, this should be results.transcript.includes, and we're going to pass through, we're going to say if this says stop, or let's do it lowercase, stop recording, then we're going to say sr.stop, and that's going to stop our recording. So let's see if we can get this working. I may need a 0 here. I don't know. We'll find out in a second. I can't remember. Okay, so in here, we're just going to say for, we're going to do a for loop, and we're going to say let I is equal to 0. And if I is greater than evt.result.length, so if we're greater than the results we've got, we're going to loop through the results. Now in here, we're going to create a result, which is going to be equal to evt.results_i. Now, underneath this, we're going to check if that result is final. So we're going to say if result.is final, because we only want to check the command if it's 100%, if it's ready to check the command, basically. Is final will not only end if it ends, it will, is final means it's its final translation. It's going to test it a bunch of times and say, actually, this is our best, the best way we can tell what you've said. So once it's like recognized your speech, it'll recognize it a few times, it'll run it through a few loops to say, okay, does this sound like this, and after it's done all that magic, it will then pass it back and say, okay, this is the one we think it definitely is. This is the closest result. It will say the confidence of it is like 85% or something like that, or 95%, and it'll be like, okay, this is the final result, and that's what it will pass back to us. So once we do final result, we're going to say check for command, and we're going to pass through the result. Just like that. And now, basically, check for command is going to pass through the result, and that's where we're going to start looking for our commands. Our commands will be in here. So let's see if we can get this working. Let's refresh, and let's hit record. Hello, everybody. What is going on? Stop recording. Okay, so you see we get an error. Cannot read properties of undefined includes. And that's probably because I've done something wrong here. So let's have a look. And that is, it's because this should be result 0. I know I couldn't remember if I needed that, but you definitely do. Because the result from here, or you can see here, we go to results 0 to actually get the result. Because the first result will always be the one you're looking for here in this scenario. So let's leave this one here. And expect when it is final, basically there's normally only one final result. You're not going to have multiple final results because that means the one before it wasn't final. So that's why we're passing through 0 here. So let's restart and let's try this again. What's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler Potts. Stop recording. And there you go. You can see it says SR stopped in there because it stopped recording, and that's actually worked. So let's try something a bit more advanced. I say else if result 0. You know, let's get the transcript here. Let's grab this and pull it in a thing. Let's say t is equal to transcript, and then we can say t.includes, and we can go here and do the same. t.includes, and we could say something like what is the time. And let's make this a bit more complex. Let's break this down and break this down and give those, and we can say, or we can pass through saying t.includes what. backslash what's the time, like that. So we can have two different ways there. You can say what's the time or what is the time, just so you've got that there. And then in here, we're just going to console.log, or we can alert. You know, we're going to say sr.stop, because once we've called this command, we want to stop the voice recognition to start with. We're then going to say alert, there you go, the current date dot two local time strings. That's going to tell us what the current time is. And then over here, we're going to say sr.start. However, I'm going to tell you this now, start will probably not work, and I will explain why. It may work, it may not, it depends on this alert. But I will show you how to fix that anyway after this. So now let's restart this and just hit record. And now let's just start talking so we can see it's working perfectly. Now what if we say, what's the time? You can see it goes, this is the time. Now if we click OK, you can see we get an error. It's going to say failed to execute start on speech recognition. Recognition is already started. And that's because this, although we called stop, this is calling practically in the same frame, although the alert pauses in between, it's calling in the same callback, in the same thread, which means this isn't going to work. So to fix this, we need to set a timeout to call this slightly a few seconds later. So we'll say set timeout to be equal to, we're just going to say an arrow function, sr.start. We could probably just say sr start. And then in here, we can just pass through, let's say 100 milliseconds. So a tenth of a second, hit save, refresh. We could probably make that even smaller. I'm just going to do it as that for now, just for testing purposes. And let's hit record. So, yo, what's going on, everybody? My name is Tyler. What's the time? And there you go, it says the time there. Now, if we click OK, you can see, oh no, and it says illegal invocation. And that's because we do need this to be an arrow function, because it does not like me and it didn't want to work. There we go. We'll leave that as that. Now let's try that again. Record. And now we can try this one last time and say, what's the time? And there you go. It gave us the time, so that's working. It says it's 4 o'clock. Click OK. And there you go. You can see it's working again. It's restarted. It's like, okay, you've done it. Now we can say stop recording. And there you go. So you can add as many voice commands onto this as you want. Don't get me wrong. This is going to get messy if you keep doing this. And this isn't the best way to do a bot. But it shows you how if you want just a few easy commands, you could just do it like this. But if you want to do something a bit more complex and you want to, let's say, build your own AI to control your house gadgets, let's say you want to control your PC even. So let's say you want it to like start recording, you want it to do a bunch of other stuff. You can actually do that, but you can't use JavaScript necessarily for it. You can still use this Vite app we've created. But we need a backend API that says, hey, we actually want to make this call. We'll say, okay, this one wants to invoke the stop recording command. So, hey, backend system, stop recording, and then it would stop recording from the backend and stuff like that. So there's a few things you can and can't do with this. So if you want me to show you how you can make an actual like AI assistant, a computer assistant like Google Assistant, and stuff like that, let me know in the comments and I'll create you a mini series or a mini video on that to show you how you can do all of those fun stuff, because I know a lot of people want to build their own Jarvis, right? We all know what you guys are thinking. You want to have your own Jarvis AI assistant that's going to come in and destroy the world. Yeah, I know what you guys are like. You just want world domination. But anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. It was a fun one to do. You can see here, I didn't style it up. I'm sorry. You guys know how to style. This isn't a CSS tutorial. I want to show you how you use, recognition here, and there's a lot more things you can do with this. You can even create, I've even created my own little library, not a library, but my own little app that actually has a keyword too. So I have to go ghost, and it goes, okay, now I'm listening, what do you want to say? And I can say a command after I've used ghost, otherwise it's not listening until I say ghost, which is pretty cool. As you can imagine, you can do a lot of things with that. But anyway, guys, let's stop talking about it. Thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. If you're new around here, you can also join our Discord server, where there's loads of cool people who are willing to help you out if you get stuck on any of these tutorials, if you're just stuck in general on some of your projects. Some people will be around to try and help you out, so feel free to hop in our Discord. Even if you just want to join to chat with us or join the community, we're a bunch of fun, friendly people. Other than our bots, who are always mean to us. The bots don't like us. AI sucks. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video, and peace out.